Welcome back to Wrestling Flash. In this WWE and all things wrestling video we are going to look at Smackdown superstar likes tweet bashing WWE for misusing Cesaro, backstage news on uncertainty around Brock Lesnar's MSG opponent, WrestleMania plans changing, Seth Rollins breaks character to react to Cesaro's WWE departure, and more. First, let's look at backstage news on uncertainty around Brock Lesnar's MSG opponent, WrestleMania plans changing. Brock Lesnar is set to defend the WWE Championship on March 5th at the iconic Madison Square Garden. However, his opponent has surprisingly still not been announced since the creative team wants to have as much flexibility as possible heading into WrestleMania. This year's show of shows is shaping up to be quite promising. In addition to the blockbuster matches that have already been announced, there are rumors swirling around about the possible addition of Stone Cold Steve Austin and Cody Rhodes to the card in separate matches. According to the latest report from WrestleVotes, the plans for this year's WrestleMania are still fluid. The report adds that WWE's creative team wants to allow major flexibility in almost every storyline. This was the reason behind the vague promo from Edge on Monday Night Raw regarding his WrestleMania opponent, a delayed tag team title match between the Usos and Viking Raiders, and also the uncertainty around the Beast Incarnate's MSG opponent. We are roughly 5 weeks out and I'm told the WM card is still very fluid. Hence the reason for the vague Edge promo, the 2-week delay on the tag title match and the MSG title defense for Brock. Creative is leaving a ton of space in nearly every storyline to allow major flexibility, WrestleVotes reported. Brock Lesnar initially won the WWE Championship at WWE Day 1 earlier this year in a fatal 5-way match. He then dropped it to Bobby Lashley at Royal Rumble, thanks to some outside interference from Roman Reigns. Last week at Elimination Chamber in Saudi Arabia, he once again regained the WWE title by dominating the field inside the chamber. Brock Lesnar, the winner of the 2022 Men's Royal Rumble match, earlier already announced he'll be challenging Universal Champion Roman Reigns for his title at WrestleMania 38. Following his WWE title victory, it has now officially been announced that Lesnar will face Reigns in a title unification match at the grandest stage of them all, in what would most likely be the main event. Comment and let us know your predictions on who do you think will step up and challenge Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship at MSG next week. WWE planning WrestleMania name change. WWE is reportedly set to change the names of Night 1 and Night 2 of WrestleMania, new reports suggest. The two-night extravaganza, set to take place in Dallas, Texas at NT Stadium on the 2nd and 3rd of April 2022, already has some mega encounters booked on its card, including a huge WWE vs. Universal Championship winner-take-all match between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, a SmackDown Women's title bout between Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey, and a long-awaited Raw Women's Championship showdown between Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair. The two-night split is the logical option for keeping the show's runtime down with so much action. But WWE is apparently no longer calling the events Night 1 and Night 2 of WrestleMania. According to Ryan Satin, they will instead be called WrestleMania Saturday and WrestleMania Sunday. Small interesting note in this article, I'm told that instead of calling it WrestleMania Night 1 and Night 2, the days will be referred to as WrestleMania Saturday and WrestleMania Sunday, Satin said. Also rumored to be on the WrestleMania card is a tag team match featuring The Miz and Logan Paul and a rumored in-ring return from Stone Cold Steve Austin. Another major attraction to the WrestleMania 38 card is the planned match for Hall of Famer Edge. The Rated R superstar took to the ring on the latest Monday Night Raw to issue an open challenge to anyone on the roster who wants to face him at the grandest stage of them all. During the promo, the word phenomenal was dropped, implying that AJ Styles might step up as Edge's opponent at the Showcase of the Immortals, only adding to rumors of a planned confrontation between the two. What do you think of these new developments? Share your thoughts in the comments section down below. Cesaro surprisingly departs WWE. Cesaro has departed WWE and is now a free agent. In a shocking turn of events, Cesaro's WWE contract expired and the two sides were unable to come to terms on a new deal. According to Mike Johnson of PW Insider, the company were in negotiations with the star for a new contract, but were unable to come to an agreement on a new deal. Since this isn't the case of a release, there is no 90-day non-compete clause. This means the Swiss Superman is free to show up or sign with other promotions since he is no longer under WWE contract. It didn't take long for the Swiss Superman to update his Twitter bio, which now lists him under his real name Claudio Castagnoli. This was the name that he used on the independent scene before signing with WWE. With Castagnoli now free and clear, he is able to show up for any company he chooses. You'd have to believe that someone like Tony Khan would be very interested in bringing the Swiss cyborg into All Elite Wrestling. Is that Castagnoli's next destination? We'll find out soon enough. What are your thoughts on Claudio departing WWE? Where would you like to see him go next? Let us know your thoughts by sounding off in the comments section below. Smackdown superstar likes tweet bashing WWE for misusing Cesaro. Ricochet liked a bunch of interesting tweets about Cesaro on Twitter, after the latter's WWE departure. Ricochet hasn't done much of note in WWE for a long time now. His fans believe that he has been terribly misused by the company over the years. The SmackDown superstar's recent Twitter likes hint that he's frustrated with WWE as well. If you go to Ricochet's Twitter profile and look at his recent likes, you'll notice some interesting tweets. One of those tweets was bashing WWE for messing up Cesaro's character on TV. The second tweet was shared by Blue Meanie, who claimed that the Swiss Superman should have won several world titles by now. Back in 2015, WWE Chairman Vince McMahon was a guest on Stone Cold Steve Austin's podcast. McMahon touched upon a series of burning topics, including Cesaro's positioning on the roster. He didn't mince words and said that the Swiss Superman lacked the charisma to become a big name. Before his WrestleMania 37 match against Seth Rollins last year, Cesaro opened up on Vince McMahon's comments about him. "I always have to prove to somebody, even if it's me, that I can do it." Like you said, the thing with Vince on the podcast, it's like, yeah, of course, I'm still here. It's been like 7 years, and I'm still here. And I'm doing really well. That just speaks for itself. That's one of those where I feel like actions speak louder than words, because there are a lot of people that come out the next day and go public or on Twitter and be like, "Well, I am this, I am that," he said. Ricochet's recent like activity seemingly indicates that he isn't happy with WWE's treatment of the King of Swing. What do you think? Do you share Ricochet's sentiments as well? Will Claudio Castagnoli become a bigger star elsewhere, now that he is no longer with WWE? Seth Rollins breaks character to react to Cesaro's WWE departure. Raw superstar Seth Rollins has reacted to his close friend and former rival, Cesaro, parting ways with WWE. The two stars competed against each other numerous times in the Indies before arriving in WWE. The Swiss Superman wrestled under his real name Claudio Castagnoli, while the visionary leader went under the moniker Tyler Black. It was recently reported that Cesaro has quietly left WWE after the two parties were unable to come to an agreement on a new deal. His WrestleMania 37 opponent, Seth Rollins, took to Twitter to send out a GIF from their incredible bout at the Show of Shows. It shows Cesaro swinging Rollins on his shoulder, which was the most memorable part of the bout. The Swiss Superman will go down as one of the most underrated superstars in the history of WWE. Although he never won a world championship in the company, he held the United States title as well as the Raw and SmackDown Tag Team Championships. He was also the inaugural Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal winner. Cesaro was part of a feud with Seth Rollins last year, which continued after their entertaining WrestleMania match. They put on one of the best matches of the entire night. Plus, Cesaro emerged with the victory. It'll be interesting to see where he lands following his WWE departure. Many fans would love to see him All Elite Wrestling, but there are other options like Impact, NWA and New Japan Pro Wrestling as well. Perhaps he could even join Braun Strowman and EC3's startup promotion Control Your Narrative. Were you shocked to hear about Cesaro's departure from WWE? Sound off below.